Hello YouTube family, this is Amanda again with another video, and this is a rough topic for me just because I have struggled with this concept for quite some time, so I'll go ahead and get into it. And of course this is going to be a little story, but I will try to keep it quick. So I've been divorced now for about 2-3 years. I had gotten married in April of 2013, and of course my marriage was very rocky. From the time we got together to the time we ended, and out of that marriage we had a number of children, and I still care about that man deeply, but we were just not equally yoked in no sense of the word. When he was up, I was down. When he was down, I was up. And, just a very karmic relationship. During our marriage, there was a lot of infidelity. And mostly on his part, but towards the end of the marriage, I actually had an affair and ended up having another child from that affair that I had. So again, that kind of paints the picture of how rocky our relationship was. Although I know he loves his children, I also know that he's an absent parent, and he's been an absent parent even before I had kids with him. Now, I have 2 children with him, and he has a number of other children by different women. So that's just a little bit of background on my marriage and basically why it dissolved. We were unequally yoked the whole time. So that brings me to my next point. And it will all tie in together, I promise. Because, sometimes I can ramble. But recently he got into a relationship with another young lady. Despite what I thought about the situation, it wasn't my situation to feel anything about. Even though he was dealing with this particular young lady while we were together, it's still, knowing what I know now, it was already a toxic environment. It was already a messed up relationship, and I can't really blame him for the path that he took a little bit after he was released from prison, because that's another problem we had. He was in and out of jail. So in the recent years, he has taken on a new relationship with a young lady. And this particular young lady was not new to our marriage. She was definitely around before. So this particular young lady ended up reaching out to me on a number of occasions just to kind of talk to me about him, talk to me about, the circumstances with how their relationship started and what they had going on even while we were together. Now, there's never been any animosity towards her, and I'll get into that portion of it in a later video. But there was never any animosity towards her, but I knew that the first time I talked to this young lady, I knew that that wasn't something that I wanted to continue to do, just simply because I felt like I had already been through enough. I didn't want to hear anything about what was going on in the relationship that he had with her. I had already checked out of everything concerning him, including him being a parent, so it wasn't really beneficial to me to continue conversations about him or continue to converse with her about what she may be going through with him. I felt like it was none of my business, and I had already served my time. So we were just gonna end it there. But recently I ran into this young lady at the store, and when you are cut from a spiritual cloth, God will allow you access to conversations that have taken place while you were not in the room. And I'm not going to say that this young lady really like disliked me, but I know that she wasn't very fond of me. And I had asked God to kind of show me, like, or tell me if I should continue to talk to her and kind of offer her guidance, or if I should just kind of cut my losses because of things I didn't hear that may have been said while I was not in the presence of the room. So it was revealed to me that there was some things that was said about me during that time. And I ran into this young lady a couple of days ago, and she went on to tell me about the things that she has been experiencing while dealing with my ex-husband. She went on to say that just kind of basically telling me what was going on in her life and how things have played out with them. And in that moment, a very significant lesson came to me. And that lesson is about grace. That lesson is about forgiveness. That lesson is about endurance. And to bring my point home, I could have, let me back up. Anyone who truly knows me knows that I can be somewhat of a hothead. I can be very mean, very vindictive at times. That when I was coming up, I was not a very nice person at all. Like, not even in any sense of the word. I had a very kind heart, but I was just not a friendly person. I was not a nice person, and I would go off just like that. So I grew up with all boys in my home, so I was naturally a fighter. So that's just a little background about the way that I grew up, but that's another video in itself as well. The lesson about grace and forgiveness and endurance is that every day we wake up, every day that we're blessed with waking up, we fall short of God's grace. There's always something we've said, something we've done, something we've thought that takes away from our vibration and puts us in a state of needing to have grace shown toward us. Forgiveness is not for the other person, and it is a cliche saying, but it is not for the other person. It is for us. Because allowing yourself to forgive others lightens your load. It removes certain aspects of your healing that could have possibly kept you stagnant and stuck in the past and trying to figure out why this happened, what you can do to rectify it. It can open the door and be a gateway to so many different energies that are low vibrational. Unforgiveness can definitely have you sitting there stagnant in your life, trying to figure out how you're going to get this person back. Even if it's, I'll never talk to this person again, I'll never show grace, I'll never be friends with this female, you know, those things can keep you at a standstill in your life where you're not living in your true authentic abilities, because unforgiveness keeps you stuck. It really does. It's in a lot of what I have realized here lately is that a lot of the women that I have been blessed with the opportunity to speak to, A lot of their unforgiveness and trauma was stored in their hips. So, as women, it's very important to make sure that you're forgiving yourself as well as others, and making sure that you're not holding on to things that do not serve you. Unforgiveness is a low vibratory feeling. It is okay to feel your feelings, but it is not okay to hold on to those feelings. And looking at this woman through the eyes of being the woman that needed the grace, being the woman that needed to be forgiven, being the woman that needed to endure certain things, looking at her in a different set of eyes really did open up my eyes to what I was holding on to, what negative emotions I was harboring for others, the way that I need grace at all times. Because it's been plenty of times that I have fallen short and have knocked myself out of the rankings for blessings that were on their way to me. So in these moments, understand that no, forgiveness does not mean access. Grace does not mean be a doormat. And endurance doesn't mean just take all that you can take until you can't take anymore. It means being in alignment with your highest self, being in alignment with God, being in alignment with your intuition, being in alignment with divine knowledge. There's going to come a time where God is going to test your commitment. Are you really going in the direction of healing and prospering and letting things go that do not serve your highest good? Or are you going to stay in that spot where you're stuck in stagnancy because you're unforgiving, because you don't want to show others grace even though God shows you grace every day? Are you going to endure that nasty feeling of they did me wrong and I can't forgive them, and they did me wrong and I want to get them back? Are you going to stay in those low vibing energies, or are you going to elevate past that and show God that you are genuinely ready for what He has in store for you? And even if that just means it's just healing and you're not where you used to be 5 years ago, are you really ready for that? Or are you going to stay in the state of chaos and confusion? Because unforgiveness, not giving others grace, and giving up at every turn when the feeling is uncomfortable will keep you so stagnant in your life, you'll look up and 10 years later, you're still in the same place you were before. So that's the message here today. Always offer others grace. Always offer forgiveness. Even if you never speak to this person again and you know that like you have no desire to reconnect, you know that you have no desire to endure anything else that they're doing. Endurance doesn't mean stick around while they run you through the mud. Endurance simply means how are you going to handle those feelings that don't feel good? Are you going to endure them, allow them to pass through peacefully, or are you going to act on those negative emotions and make it your point to be unforgiving and make it your point to be so hard on anyone else that you don't show them grace? The best way to practice showing grace is to show grace to yourself first, because you were once a person that needed to be shown grace because you have not always been right. Are you going to be unforgiving, or are you going to forgive? Forgive yourself first, because there's things that you've done in your life that have not been easily forgiven by others. Are you going to endure? Are you going to endure, or are you going to give up every time something is uncomfortable? You're going to endure what you need to endure to get to where you want to go, or you're going to give up at every turn because you're uncomfortable with the feeling that enduring gives you. All of these things you must first pour into yourself and look at others, especially those who have wronged you, talked bad about you, done you wrong, especially those people. Try to find the humanity in those people. Try to figure out what made you resonate with those people to begin with. Try to figure out what it is that keeps you from fully forgiving those people. And I'm more than positive it's going to show you where you have not forgiven yourself. It's going to show you where you have not given yourself grace. It's going to show you where you have not endured. Keep encouraged, stay encouraged, and always remember that you need to make sure you are not harboring negative energies. You must keep your heart light as a feather at all times, because spiritual warfare is real. And one little crack in the door will have you battling hundreds of demons. Keep God at the center of your life. Practice grace often. Practice forgiveness often. And practice enduring often. Be safe, be well. I love you all. Until my next one. Bye.